Because I was stuck there too with that worst day cycle thing, you
It's
know?
good.
And I was like, what is my worst day? I don't know. Mine was my abandonment, because from being little, I got sent to grandma, sent to dad, sent here. My mom went to prison, my mom went to jail, and so I was back and forth. So mine was just that abandonment. And so now that you said that, like, it doesn't have to be one specific thing. It was all those times of being left.
Anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, one of my greatest struggles in life still is that I'm stupid. I mean, part of the reason I do all this is to combat that I'm so stupid. Well, where did I learn that? Asking my dad for help with homework. My dad was an engineer. And I can just still remember, I can still feel myself hiding behind this wall. He's in his leather chair, either reading the paper or reading through some journals or things for work, and just stressing about asking his help for homework, because I know what's coming. And you know, he'd run through, and he had all these shortcuts for out, you know, because he's an engineer. He's brilliant mathematically. He's been training for years, and him looking at it, Kenny, don't you see it? It's right there.
Yeah.
How do you not see that? And again, perception. I must be stupid. I have to be stupid. And so my greatest judgment of others, what I hate most about other people, is how stupid they are. Well, remember, judgment and denial. We're always talking about ourselves, you know, and so that's my constant battle, is whenever I'm not in adult maturity and moderation, I can always tell when I'm judging somebody, and it's usually they're stupid in some fashion. I know in that moment I'm a child. It has nothing to do with them. Okay, so the point is any adverse moment where you don't even have to remember the event, but you might remember an age, just this feeling. God, something around, I don't know, it's like 4 years old, I don't know.
That helps a lot, because I have a very, like, non-existent memory of my childhood. Like, a lot of things are really hazy.
None of us do. Yeah, or most of us are that way.
Like, I don't know. And I feel like I had a really beautiful childhood up until, like, later on, as I was, like, preteen, maybe. That's when I'm like, maybe that's when I really started to gain, like, my true consciousness, right? Like, started to wake up as I developed. But yeah, otherwise, most of it has been, like, past that childhood era, right?
Well, and there's a reason for that. Another perfect imperfection of this book, and why my next book is plugging the holes.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have let you guys know in this book that part of the reason you don't remember your childhood is people don't realize the first 7 years of life we're in a theta brainwave state, okay? Which is basically hypnosis. So you're not present. You're not cognition starts to come on between 4 and 7 years old, you know, but mostly 5 to 7. All right. So most of your trauma happens before you're even consciously aware. All right. You don't even have the ability as a human yet, and what happens is you create that false persona, that adaptation, and many of those adaptations are the denial mechanisms: suppression, repression, minimizing childhood's fine, nothing, not until I got older. Well, that's usually because it's such a repetition. And it may have escalated. There may have been more, you know, bigger events like me, you know, finding my mom, but it didn't just start there. My mom had been drinking for a long time, you know what I mean, before I was consciously aware of it. And so that's one of the disconnects for people, is because most trauma happens in the early part of life, we're not conscious to it, and then it is traumatic, and so we create a veil to protect us from it. So we minimize it. We're not even aware that it's there or that it's happened to us, because we've already constructed, you know, we've learned the emotional dynamics of the family. And wait a minute, just, you know, take the example of food. If, you know, younger, it would have been, oh, okay, how do I fit in here? You know, each child, and this is another mistake. People think, well, my parents raised us all the same. Not even close. No. Not even close. They all have different relationships with us, in part because they're at a different level of maturity. There are different stresses in their life, lots of things. And so what happens to us is we look at the family system, and based on our own experience with the individuals involved, we'll become the pleaser, we'll become the black sheep, whatever. All of these personas, we pick a unique one to us to try and survive. And so your work with clients is trying to find out what those are,
Right.
you know. But that's why most people don't remember their childhood, and that's why you don't need to remember the specific event. I know this, in time, lots of those unthaw, and you're out for a walk and you just, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, still I have flashbacks, and some are painful, some are just, yeah, I had forgotten about that. But it's very common, very normal, and unless somebody's really detached from their body, they will have a general idea of an age range of a discomfort, something around here. Don't remember what happened, but this is my feeling. And that's why, to find your cycle, it's what am I feeling? Use the feelings wheel. Where in my body do I feel it? Because we store trauma physically in our body, and emotions too. And what's my first memory? And so no matter your age, 20, 60, 80, you just keep following that ladder down, and now you see, oh my God, he's right. I am in I just keep repeating this pain. And that's what allows you to get into truth and reality of, wow, we're all really sucky. and I mean that in the most loving way. But that's what I'm trying to do, is break that barrier and go, look, this scam that psychology, society, parenting, everyone's taught us that there's this dividing line. And I don't want to be that. That's what's killing us all. We are all this. And this has to be included, because remember, like with you, we want to bring that in. Well, that's all I'm trying to do, is go, oh no, all of us. But to have that, you have to become an expert in the dark. It's the only way.
Yeah.
And that's not just a tenet of reclaiming your authenticity. That's also how the universe works. Like the light comes after dark.
Mm-hmm. They both coexist.
You have to.
Yeah.
If you don't go in the dark, you can't produce light. So,
Yeah.
does that help you?
It does.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.